Hello, everyone. Schizoid Angst, and I'm here to have a nice conversation with Ray, a fellow Schizoid. Also, like, subscribe, or dislike, or comment, or criticize, or whatever you want to do. I don't give a shit. As long as you do something, because it helps the channel grow. Um, I know most of you rather hide in your cubby holes and not do anything of the such, but I'd really appreciate it. Like you could just literally leave a comment that just says comment, and it probably will be helpful in some form or another. And just hit that thumbs up, as stupid as that sounds. In any case, you guys already know who I am, and I don't have to really talk about that since I talk about it enough. But this is Ray, and Ray will tell you a little bit about themselves. Go ahead, Ray.
Um, uh, Hello,
There you
I'm
go.
Cray Ray. Yeah, good enough.
Okay.
uh,
Would you mind listing what's wrong with you?
yeah, what's wrong with me is
Yeah.
that I'm schizoid and I also have ADD.
I
So,
share
yeah.
this. I share this pain. So that's why I'm particularly interested in having a conversation with Ray and asking a few questions because I feel that the answers might be relatable in some way or another. We do have quite a age difference here. I believe you're in the younger side still, and I'm an old man
Yeah,
of 35 years
despite my
old.
profile picture, I'm quite young.
Yeah. That is not Ray in the avatar image. Yeah, well, I don't have it up right now, but it's a little old man. Here, let me see if I can pull that up real quick so you can see it. There you go. That is not Ray. Unfortunately, that would be kind of
Hey.
hilarious if it was Ray. Okay, especially with this voice of yours.
Yeah.
um, okay. So basically, it's just like the other conversations that you guys might have listened to or might have not. If you haven't, please do so. I'm just going to ask some questions, and then we're just going to kind of take it from there. Um, One thing I do like about talking to other schizoids is they tend to not give a shit about much, and because of that reason, they tend to have a pretty good sense of humor. Um, so if I say anything offensive, oh well, deal with it. I don't care. That goes for you too, Ray.
All right, all right.
All right. In any case, I have the first question. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you prepared any questions for me, did you? Or
No, not really.
okay, well, if you have any along the way, go for it. Okay, just drop them. About me,
All right.
about what my channel's doing, the point of this, all that kind of shit. I don't care. You can ask me some philosophical question if you want, or about your favorite TV show. I don't give a shit. All right, but questions, go for it. In any case,
Okay.
number one, when did you discover your schizoid, and what was your reaction to this discovery?
Well, I I've always known that something was wrong with me ever
Haven't
since
we
I was
all?
this young little lass.
Yes.
Like, uh, yeah, pretty much I've always known that something was wrong with me,
Hmm.
and I grew up this way of and all that. Um, uh, but when I found out about being
Like
schizoid,
when we were
it
diagnosed is what I meant. Like to be more specific.
I I I was diagnosed just earlier this year.
Ah, recent.
In fact,
Hmm.
yeah.
And but how did you feel about the diagnosis? Like once you got an actual like name for it, like here, this is what's wrong with you. How did that help? Did that hinder? How did that kind of change the direction in which you're trying stuff, or maybe adjusting your own life?
Uh, One thing for sure is that it made me see my own thoughts differently. Like,
Mm.
I always. Well, I'm sorry, you might have to cut out some silences here.
No, I don't care. You can be,
uh,
dude. We're a bunch of socially averted freaks. It's okay.
eh.
Don't worry about it. Like especially, dude. Like I've had many conversations with various schizoids. We're all quiet. We're all strange. So take all the silences you need. God knows I have them.
Yeah. Well, at first I didn't know what schizoid was.
Hmm.
it was just that I was like taking this test uh at my that my psychologist
Hmm.
told me. Well, I
No,
don't know.
it's all good.
Um,
So they told you here. I'll guide your direction here. So they told you that you were this thing, and but what did you mean? Like how it affected the way you think about your thoughts? Like what changed about the way you think about your thoughts? You had mentioned that.
well, um,
Is it hard to describe?
it's hard to describe. Yeah. Plus, it's quite recent, so I
Still fresh.
don't really. Yeah,
Haven't quite grasped it
still
yet.
fresh and
Okay, that's fine. We don't have to get stuck on that. I know when I know when to move on, but maybe these will be better ones. What are strange interactions you've had or conflicts being schizoid or ADD have caused you without you actually realizing it? Because with the schizoid, obviously we have issues with social norms, understanding social cues, understanding other people's emotional reactions to a variety of things. It confuses us or perplexes us or irritates us. Has there been a situation where you didn't even notice you did something, some kind of faux pas of some sort? Do you have any
um,
instances in which that's ever happened?
well, one thing I can recall is that um uh, it was it was a few years ago now, and
Hmm.
my grandfather died,
Oh,
and
that one gets weird for us schizoids when people die around us. Continue.
yes, absolutely. And the thing about Gramps was that he actually lived with the rest of us in the same house,
Hmm.
and he had always done so. He'd always been a big part of my life and all that. Just when he suddenly died and all that, well, that was completely natural. Like I didn't react too much,
Hmm.
and another thing was that at the funeral,
Yeah,
everybody else was crying.
of course. I know that
Ev-
one.
everybody else was everybody else was crying, and even people that I didn't know were like they
So
were crying, and
So what
I
went through
just
your head when you saw other people crying that weren't? Obviously, you were close to your grandfather, right? The way you described. So you were close to him, and how did you? What were you thinking when you saw other people that didn't even know him very well crying?
uh, what I thought was like, "N- it isn't that bad, right? Like
No, be
it's
honest. Yeah,
natural. Like,
everyone dies.
yeah, everyone dies, and
I
he
will
was
die,
like
and you will
80
die,
something.
and he was 80
Yeah.
something. And I understand more so when people perish younger and suddenly of either
Mhm.
a disease or they came quickly or maybe an accident or murder or something. That makes more sense to me as to why people would be so sorrowful. Even though I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't be myself, because I also see those instances as something that just occurs. But I find it, yeah, I find it really difficult when an older person passes from health complications because
Yeah.
it almost feels like they're not crying so much for the person, but crying more for their fear of their own mortality. But I'm not entirely sure what it is that's causing it. Um, but
Yeah. I
so
understand.
was it frustrating to see other people crying that
It
weren't as
wasn't really
close?
it wasn't really frustrating, but I sort of understood.
Okay,
Well, I understood why they would. This was like a it was somebody's death, right? It's
yeah.
supposed to be like this really scary thing. But another part of me was like, why? Like
Why is it scary?
mm, everybody knew uh, everybody knows that this is going to happen and
Hmm.
he's finally in peace.
Yeah, and was
You
he
know?
in like was he pretty sickly prior? I'm guessing it wasn't sudden.
He had started to get a bit sickly, yeah. Literally 24 hours before he died, he actually fell off of the bed and couldn't get up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Interesting. Okay. Well, I don't want to ponder on this too long. I know it's probably still fresh, and I know you're saying that it's not, because that's the thing that I like to kind of go on about is that even though schizoids don't react on an emotional outburst as much as maybe another person, I feel that we have our own version or our own methods of either grieving or coming to terms with things that we don't enjoy or like or that may hurt someone. So I'm sure in your own
absolutely.
way, yeah, in your own way, you are somber about the loss of your grandfather, but you're not about to, burst into tears and jump into a coffin or
I mean,
anything.
no, no,
No, no, that's not your
absolutely not.
style. No, no.
I've actually never cried about when it has come to the topic of death.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah.
single person, either on 2 feet or 4 feet or however many feet, never cried.
Well,
So,
and that's just how it is. And
yeah,
unfortunately, people can see us as monsters many of the time
yeah.
because of that. And the worst part is when you have to fake cry or fake emotion for the purposes of satiating other people's social norms and things. So yeah,
Uh,
that can be
well, for
annoying.
me, it's a little bit I can sort of understand that, but for me, it's a bit different. I can sort of get into the mindset of the other people by sort of reenacting what could what they could be feeling.
You're mimicking.
So, I can sort of get emotional that way.
Yeah, but it's like a form of
Yeah,
mimicking. It's
it
a form of mimicry,
yeah,
which is interesting, and
yeah.
it's still nonetheless a form of adaptability because like it's same with masking. It's a psychological adaptation, and so because you see other people crying, some part of in your brain is going, "Hey," the social part, whatever form it exists, is going, "Hey, there's something wrong here. Like I'm feeling alienated and uncomfortable because everyone around me is reacting a certain way, and they're gonna feel like I'm strange if I don't react in some semblance of a similar way, and then you almost develop a form of mimicry, which is kind of really crazy to me, but it's interesting. Um, and I've done the
Yeah, it's
same.
really weird.
It's really strange. It's really strange. And then you're duplicating what you believe to be their emotion, but you're not necessarily feeling it the same way they are. It's really odd.
Sort of the 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 human mind is a crazy thing. It
Well,
is.
well, it's fun, isn't it? That's why I like to talk about it so much. Number three, how is mental health perceived in your nation and culture, specifically issues like yourself, if you want to go into that? But I always like because every time I've had a conversation with somebody, a lot of people are from different places. I spoke to someone that was British. I spoke to another American in a different state. I've spoken to people from just a variety of countries, even when the conversations I don't record. Um, I always like to know how the culture perceives mental health. And depending on where you live, it's either not a big deal or a big deal. I spoke to somebody that was from people that are from a Russian background um, have told me that it's not as much of a deal to be more aloof, no, not aloof, but like quiet and conservative to yourself kind of attitude. So because it's kind of part of the culture, it isn't as weird to not be as social. So, and that would be kind of in a Russian situation. But I'm wondering, in the case of, I believe you're from Norway.
Yes.
Yeah, in the case of Norway,
In Nor
yeah,
in Norway, it's not too much of a big deal. In fact, Norway can be quite nice when it comes to being schizoid because, um, like, let me give you a little
example.
situation.
Oh, do it,
Let's
do it.
say you,
Story time. Go for
yeah,
it.
um, uh, if you had to take public transportation, like a bus or
Mm-hmm.
something like that,
Got it.
and you had like 2 seats for yourself, right?
Okay.
But all of the other seats were taken,
Mm-hmm.
and one more person got onto that vehicle.
Uh-huh.
Like, usually, it
It would be.
wait, no, now I'm telling it wrong.
Wait. So
Now I'm
no,
telling it
no,
wrong.
no. Go for it. Go for it. Fix it. Hurry.
Uh, uh, ah!
no,
Um,
no, you're fine. You're
um,
fine. All right. So wait. Someone gets on a bus, and then what happens? So you don't have an open seat, or you do?
um, here's a better way of explaining it.
Okay. Better. Go
Um, uh,
for it.
let's say you have to take let's say you have to take public transportation
Uh-huh.
one day. You
Got it.
absolutely have to. And you have 2 seats for yourself, right?
Got it.
And somewhere along the road, a friend comes up on the bus, or like a friend because an acquaintance,
Somebody you know.
let's say.
Somebody you know. You're aware of. That
They
they're aware of you and you're
Yeah,
aware of them. Okay.
yeah, and they spot you on the bus, and they decide to sit down with you on on the seat right next to you.
Uh-huh.
That is something that rarely happens here in Norway.
What would
You
what would happen normally? What would be an instance in which that would happen? What would normally happen in Norway?
how what would happen normally is that everybody will try to get 2 seats for themselves, and even if you are friends, you you don't start conversations on the bus
Oh, that's
unless you're like
beautiful.
really, really, really close.
Like you'd have to
And
be
even
like
on the bus
siblings or
stop
something.
itself, yeah, or like really, really, really,
Like
really close
besties,
friends, you
besties.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or you
interesting.
just have to be some really loud people, but
So, so let me go into that a little further. So, from what I can tell, there's there more of a culture in Norway to kind of keep to yourself, unless the
yeah.
situation calls for interacting.
Yes. It
So, if there's a party, then people interact more openly, right? But if it's out in
Yeah.
public, it's more like, is it just like a casual nod or something?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so
Like,
casual kind of
you
nod,
don't
like an acknowledgement, like, oh, I know you, you know me, nod, and then I'm gonna go sit over there now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it would be rude
That
to approach somebody and start talking to them,
um
or
yeah, it could
uncomfortable,
sort of be seen like that.
like you're just
Yeah,
being
because it's
nosy,
sort of
or
a breach of privacy.
got it. So there's a
It sort of
high,
becomes a breach of privacy.
that sounds amazing. How do I live there? Shit.
Oh god. The
Um,
taxes are high though.
no, I know, guys, you damn taxes in Norway. No, I know, I get it. It's interesting too. Is I would say in the United States, I live in California. In the United States, especially in an urban area, cities and stuff, there is an understanding that you kind of just don't interact with strangers or people you don't know. And you know, you would maybe have that extra seat between you and yourself and strangers. But there's definitely not a culture of, oh, it's my neighbor, or oh, it's a person that I'm familiar with. No, you would call them over, or you would talk to them, or there'd be more of a open approach type situation. Even if like you're not going to sit right next to each other, you would sit somewhere nearby, maybe have a little chat. I don't like doing these things, but
I
that's what I see, and then that's what I've had people do to me because I used to use
Mhm.
buses and stuff, and just in general. I mean, I've gotten in Ubers where like the other person starts talking to me because I'm in the front seat and they're in the back seat, and I
Oh
hate that shit.
god.
I hate that shit. But you know, At least because the way I handle that usually is I try to steer the conversation into a direction that I find more interesting, so that the conversation at least itself won't be so bothersome. Especially if the person's not being rude, because it is a cultural norm to do that. I like the idea though of what you guys do, where you can just like it would literally be rude for somebody to do that. That you could actually maybe say, "Oh, I'm busy," or "I'd rather not talk," and it wouldn't be rude on your part because they're being rude by by
Mhm.
approaching you and invading your privacy. Oh, that sounds awesome. I wish us Americans could do that more often. I don't know how. I would. The one of the other places I would assume is the same kind of idea would probably be a place like Japan. A place like Japan, I think, has a similar sort of culture when it comes to approaching people and having conversations in public. From what I've seen in
Mm,
Japanese YouTubers and stuff talk about, like when it comes to social norms and approaching, and there's a certain level of more
yeah, I would agree to that. Yeah.
conservatism that exists when it comes to public. And it's funny because once you're in a private location, that alters completely. But when it comes to a public situation, yeah, it's every man for themselves, and everyone just kind of stays quiet, and no one's jammering
Everybody
about.
minds their own business.
Yeah, and you're either busy reading your book, or you're playing your game on your phone, or looking at the news on your
Listening to
phone,
music.
or you're listening to music, and you're not singing aloud. You're not singing the music aloud.
No.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no. You're not.
oh God.
In fact, you're not even like moving around too much. Even if you really enjoy the music, you're just sitting there quietly while everyone else is doing their thing. And I love that, but that's definitely not American culture. And I don't know if that would definitely not work for us as a people, but
Yeah.
it's more. I think here it's less, like I said, especially in the city, it's less a respect to privacy, like a cultural respect to privacy and autonomy, and it's more like caution and distrust.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Sort of.
well, I mean, for us, I'm saying for us. So for us, it's a
Yeah.
caution and distrust. I don't know that it's the same for maybe Norwegians, in which is more of a sense of privacy, and it's almost uh, a like a respect maybe over cautiousness and fear. Am I right in that, or would it still be caution and fear of the others?
It could still be a little bit of caution because,
Hmm.
of course, you never know what the person is gonna do or say. But
Hmm.
it's more out of respect. Like even if you're sitting with a childhood friend on the bus or something like that, or at the bus stop,
And if
you're
you
out
do
in
talk, you would
public
talk
somewhere.
at a low volume, right? It wouldn't be like you'd be yelling and
At least
screaming.
try to. At
Yeah, you wouldn't be super loud
least
and
try to.
everyone can hear you. Is that how it is? Like if you answer a phone call, do you just kind of go to your own little corner and talk, and like away from like other people's prying ears? As
Yeah, we usually try to go out of the room, like go into a private room, maybe a bathroom or
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so
something
much
like that.
better. I hate when people have their like full blown conversations right there in front of me. It's so frustrating. But it happens all the time,
Mm.
especially if you've ever worked retail or something. There's people literally coming into the store having full blown conversations. Sometimes on voice chat, like out loud, speakerphone in the store.
Mm.
It's ridiculous. But
Oh
anyway,
God,
I know
that is
that,
absolutely
and that would not be okay.
no.
That you can't go to the market with speakerphone yammering about people. Oh, okay, that's good.
No, you would definitely get some weird looks.
Okay, they'd be like, "Who's
People
this
wouldn't
rude
like come
fuck?"
up to
Right?
you and say that they wouldn't come up to you and say like, "This is not okay. Can you please turn it off?" We just look at you like in a really
And there might be some
weird
whispers,
way.
huh? Some whispers and weird looks.
Um,
No whispers. Not even that.
sort of.
That's amazing. All right,
It's more weird looks than just
they
wait
stare
until
you
that
down till
person's
you
out of the
stop.
area and then you
Oh man.
not really staring down, no.
No, I know, I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's what I'd want to do though, just to burn a hole through their head.
My
Um.
headphones fell off.
Oh, they fell off.
Eh,
Wait, just now?
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. It's okay. I didn't hear it, so you're fine. Okay. So this is interesting to me. I'm having fun with this because your like the personalities, I think, also are affected by culture. So I don't know, like having a conversation like this with a stranger about your stuff. How would that be seen in your culture? Would that be like weird? That we or what are you doing right now weird? Would that be a weird thing?
Well, since well, uh,
Or is it could internet make it different?
the internet sort of makes it different, but
Okay.
also the fact that we plan this, of course. So,
Ah,
but if
but as long as it's planned, it's a little better. I could see that.
yeah.
I would have had this conversation unplanned. I don't care. Um, in any
Mhm.
case, number four, why do you partake in social media? Like, things like TikTok and other things. Like, what motivates you to partake in any kind of social media? If you're not interested
Well
too much in like, interacting with other human beings.
well, it's sort of the only way I know how to talk to people. I never really well, also because all of my hobbies have sort of been internet related. So,
And what are some of those hobbies, if you don't mind?
comedy, well, I listen to a lot of music and
Cool.
I find that a lot through the internet. I've also, well, yeah,
There you
memes.
memes. Who doesn't enjoy a good meme, right? Well, actually, I know
Mm.
one gentleman that despises memes.
Oh
Which
God,
is,
how could he?
I don't know. It's an interesting person. It's one of the conversations I had. They're not fond of memes at all. Uh,
Oh God.
not hey, it's not for everyone, you know. Uh,
Yeah,
we all have our
true.
things, but there are some things that you know makes quite different. Okay. So I'm also curious, since I share this issue, can you give us like a description of the conflict you have in your brain between your energetic nature due to the ADD and your not so energetic nature due to the schizoid? How does that like click? How does that work? I want to hear about it only because I want to see what kind of stuff you might experience because I might share it as well or others.
Uh,
Like
well,
how
the
does
first thing is that, um, uh, yeah, the first thing is that it comes to like boredom
hmm
and hobbies and interests and all that. The thing is, if you're schizo, you could still have like some things you're interested in, right?
yes,
Well,
absolutely.
with ADD, you tend to be like a little bit all over the place. You tend to like everything and anything
As long as
to
it
some
catches your
certain degree.
attention, yeah, as long as it catches your
Yeah,
attention or stimulates your brain in some odd way. But that's what I wondered, how that conflicts because as a schizoid, um, I noticed that like I'm very picky about what is I find stimulating. Um, but at the same time, the ADD aspect is constantly pulling my attention in various directions. So what I often find myself doing, I don't know if you've experienced this, is if somebody's say watching TV or doing something, my brain, the ADD part of myself will start watching whatever it is, and then the schizoid part of myself will realize I'm getting nothing out of this, and then attempt and disconnect me from it, and then I like. I almost like realize like, God damn it, ADD. Like I'm just like, this is stupid. I'm not even interested in this. What the fuck? Like, and then like
absolutely.
yeah, and then you just get annoyed with
Absolutely.
yourself because you're just like, I don't even like this. I don't even like this.
Like,
What the fuck am I doing? Why did I just sit here for 20 minutes watching this stupid shit?
like, one of the things I absolutely hate seeing on TV is, like, sports, like, sports channels and
Sports
everything
ball.
like that.
Yeah, the old sports
And,
ball.
oh, and I but for some reason, I can just sit down there, all of a sudden get, like, really focused on it, even though I have no idea what's going on, and
Or
all of
any
a sudden, I'm
interest
like,
in knowing what's going on.
"Yeah, that," and just ugh. But another way is with boredom, that having schizoid personality disorder and ADD sort of crash. Because when you have ADD, you tend to get bored easily, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
bored
with
or distracted by distracted. In my case, I do get bored
you're like
easily.
actually bored.
Like, yeah, bored. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I know what you mean. I can lose interest in stuff fairly quick unless it keeps up with me. But yeah, when you get
Yeah,
bored, yeah.
when you get bored, but then you want to do something, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want to do something, but your your schizo just doesn't. How
It,
should
ma-
I? Ah,
it makes it so you don't have the energy to do something, but you have the need.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's
why
yeah.
should I do this? It's not gonna help me either way, or
I'm not gonna
like
care
it's just
about
gonna
it.
go
It's gonna be
away.
boring. It's not gonna, or you just feel like it's not worth it, or not worth doing, or not worth taking
Yeah,
part
or it's
in.
just that. Oh, do I really have? Do I have to do this to feel better? And like, it's
But at the same
not
time, you want to
nice.
satiate the boredom, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just
It,
what
uh,
if we don't want to shake?
what if what?
What if we don't want to shake the boredom? Like shaking is tiresome.
Shaking is tiresome. And then at that point, you're tired and bored instead of just bored.
Yes.
You rather
So
just be.
you're just sitting there or just doing nothing, maybe scrolling through Twitter or anything like that, and you just see, oh, a kitten.
That's nice.
Let's play.
Let's watch the kitties. Let's watch the video of the things that actually have energy and perhaps a
Yeah,
motivational drive of some kind. Um,
yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. When it comes to boredom, I do have a similar issue like the one you're mentioning, where a lack of energy combined with the whole wanting to actually do something. What I noticed helps with that, and this is just my own, I guess not advice, but my approach when it comes to that, and how I've improved it significantly over the years is all about context. It's all about how I approach those things. So I noticed that when I take a philosophical approach to any and every action I take, whether it's an errand or it's just a distraction, I find that it makes it more entertaining to me. Like an example would be if I say was in a situation in which I have to watch some reality television, right? Like say, let's just say 600 Pound Life, right? Do you know that show? Everyone knows that
I
show,
know
right?
it.
You don't know it, or you do know it?
I know it.
Okay,
That's
you
what I
know it.
said.
Damn, you're getting mad at me. That was awesome.
No, it's more that I'm getting mad at. Well, I'm getting mad at the situation. Well,
What situation? I want to know.
it. I think it's more about my mic volume and all that
Oh,
because sometimes it doesn't like pick up, even when I'm being quite
maybe
loud.
maybe you're just mumbling like a crazy person and don't even realize it.
That could be true. Yeah.
But you're just like slurring your words and such, and you think you're saying it correctly. No, but so you are familiar. So what happens is I'll watch a show like that, not actively. Like I won't be like getting going out of my way. It'll be more like my wife calls me over or something, or I want to sit next to her, right? Because I want to be close to
Mhm.
her, and then which is like pretty much the only person I want to be that close to most of the time. But I want to be close to her, but she's watching this because she's interested in it for whatever reason, or one of those housewives shows or whatever. So
Oh,
I know. So I end up having to kind of look at the screen while I sit next to her. So then what I do is I start breaking apart like I start looking at the editing. I start looking at the things that are being
Mm.
said. I start looking at the psychological motivators of the characters in the show or the people. I start looking at what doesn't make sense or makes sense as far as like, their motivations go. I start looking for solutions to the problems they're espousing, and then oftentimes I'll start talking and breaking stuff down, which will sometimes annoy my wife. She just wants to veg out. She just wants to veg out and watch the stupid shit. But she's
Mhm.
also understands that that's like the only way I could enjoy anything like that, or quote unquote, or at least find it interesting in any way, is for me to start kind of picking it apart, messing with it, thinking about like the more meta aspect of how it fits into society, how these shows function, this is being watched at all. Like I started going into all these rabbit holes in my mind, and when I do, I then seem to be able to stay attentive to it enough to where the boredom is somewhat satiated, to stave it off from my completely shutting down and just going to sleep instead. So
Oh,
so that's what I do, and I've noticed it works for a variety of things. It's basically approaching things that you normally might not be interested, or you might not be interested in doing at that moment, and then finding a new reason why it is interesting, or finding a new thing to latch onto to motivate you to actually want to do it or participate in it. Like, I
I'm
mean,
too tired for that shit.
uh, I, 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 I get it. I get it. It's not for everyone, but that's what I do, and that's because my brain is always. I guess the ADD in my case is it's like an overtuned motor. My brain, like it's always trying to take things apart and like figure stuff out and find like nuance where sometimes there isn't any, and all kinds of shit. It's really fucking annoying, and I can't seem to turn it
I'm
off
bored.
very easily. So,
Oh,
but that's my situation, right? And because of that, I have to find ways to adapt to really, really boring things.
yeah.
And it works for me. It's not for everyone. And I'm sure you can find your own solutions to your boredom or your lack of energy. It's just a matter of finding them. I think with schizoids, there's always something you can find. It just we all have these different variances of motivators that don't make sense to other human beings, other than maybe ourselves and maybe other schizoids too. But I think it's about locating them and then focusing your energy on those things that actually fuel you. Um,
Yeah.
but it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, but there's something there, and this is what I tell all my fellow schizoid bros and sisters: is that um, if you if you're doing this at all, like if you're on my Discord and you're saying anything, the fact that you agreed to this conversation, the fact that you're having it at all, that you're doing it at all, shows that there's something inside of you that can, in fact, make you do something. It is about
Yes, absolutely.
finding what that thing is, discovering it, doing self introspection, figuring it out. What is that thing? And it's different for every person. And it's the hardest part is that it's an unconventional thing usually because it's
Mm.
you're fucking schizoid. So and then use that thing in order to interact with the world around you, to express yourself, to just interact, to motivate you to interact in some respect that functions for you. And then you can find yourself much more alleviated of the usual boredom and monotony and lack of energy. Um, I mean, it's work. I know it's work, but it's all internal work. And if you're just fucking, well, it's not all internal work, but a lot of it is. If you're just fucking sitting there doing nothing, you might as well investigate your mind, and see what you can come up with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, or
that's
just one thing that I like to do is actually to just meditate. Just
absolutely
just sit down, just don't think of anything and just let
t-
everything go.
temporary
Just
oblivion. Um, and
yeah.
I absolutely understand that. That's partially why I enjoy I take naps. I take usually one or two naps a day. I like short naps,
Mhm.
30 minutes or something. Usually when the baby goes to sleep, I'll go to sleep too, take a 30-minute nap or something. I'll attempt it. I enjoy those temporary
Hmm.
moments of oblivion.
Yeah.
Um, Oh,
We all
you
need
squeaked when I
times,
said baby.
but we need them a lot more.
Why did you
Huh?
squeak? Why did you make a squeak sound when I said baby? Like, oh.
Wait, did I?
Oh, I don't know. You went, oh. I thought maybe you were like caught off guard the fact that I'm a father. Um.
Oh, no, 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 that is absolutely that I knew that.
Oh,
I
okay.
knew that, don't worry.
Oh no, I don't
Um,
care. I don't care. I was just curious. I just heard a oh. Like just step on a tack. Or... Anyway.
I know, it's just that my voice can go, like, really high at times, and I
And
often make
really
noises without
low at others, right? It's like incredibly
I
low.
don't know. I don't know if you would call this low for a woman, but
Yeah, that's as low as
yeah.
it gets, right? You
Uh,
have the black metal DNA. I'm sure you can growl. It's got to be in there somewhere.
no, I can't.
You can't. Oh, that's unfortunately. She did
Sorry.
not pick up that hereditary black metal Norwegian black metal gene.
No,
That's unfortunate.
it isn't.
I'm a huge fan of. That's probably my favorite thing about Norway. Fuck everything else. Just the horrible, violent music that comes from that beautiful country.
Oh.
But but that's just me and my own personal rage. But
Yeah.
thanks for talking. It's been awkward,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
It's been awkward, it's been nice, and
it's been pretty
yeah.
chill, and hopefully somebody gets something out of the stuff we talked about. Did you have any quick questions for me before we end this, or are you rushing to escape?
I'm not really rushing the escape, but I just I feel like I've said my part, so at least try
Aw-
to.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
Watch
Well,
this be your most disliked video just because
just
I'm so goddamn annoying.
oh, it's okay. You're not annoying. The pauses are unsurprising. Like I've just been kind of lucky in some sense that I've talked to a few schizoids that are talkative, especially well, somewhat talkative. Like Finn is a pretty talkative person.
Yeah,
I'm very, very talkative, even though it doesn't make sense to people. But like I said, it's all context. I enjoy conversation not because I'm looking to make friends, but because I'm looking to discover new information and uh, find new ideas and click new things in my brain that I hadn't previously clicked and things like that. And it's infinite possibilities, and I want to partake in as
yeah,
many of them as I can, and so on.
absolutely.
But yes, it's all a learning process. Well, thank you for joining me. Also, like, sub, or you can just leave comments below saying that I talk too much and I'm annoying, or you could say that Ray doesn't talk enough and then she's annoying. It's up to you. Um, in any case, have yourself a wonderful evening, night, day, or whatever.